Isn't it ironic that Elon Musk, who has been tasked with the DOGE Department of Government Efficiency, has been bringing his 4-year-old to important government meetings? I can't help but speculate on how Musk or Trump would respond if all their staff brought along their kids. Would they be allowed to? Or is it one rule for the aristocrats and another for the plebeian? Would their die-hard fans think it cute seeing the Oval Office and other crucial government workspaces being overrun by kids running amok? It's beyond me why a billionaire who has access to an array of helpers and nannies would subject the sitting president, other officials, and the voyeuristic world to a toddler interrupting important work-related discussion. That scene of X wiping off a booger on the presidential desk was so disrespectful and cringe. I wonder how people would respond if anyone else's child did this. Would they still find it cute? It's infuriating to watch Musk abuse his privilege while we ordinary parents struggle to find reliable, affordable daycare for our kids. Musk's DOGE has been tasked with reducing government expenditure and improving productivity within the public service. Does Musk think bringing your child to work is a good example of improving productivity in the office? I used to be a Trump fan, but seeing X being allowed special privileges infuriates me. I just hate when the boss thinks his child is more valuable and important than the rest of his subordinates. Once upon a time, I worked at a residential school when the principal's daughter, who was around my son's age, was ill. Both husband and wife, who was also a teacher, stayed at home to care for the child, and I had to find last-minute replacements for his and his wife's classes. However, when my 9-year-old son was ill, I was just supposed to drop him off at the medical unit and come to work. No consideration, no compassion. This uneven power privilege really gets my goat. It feels like a joke when Elon Musk states that he is bringing his hardcore work ethic to DOGE. How does that play out, having a 4-year-old prancing around the Oval Office, picking his nose and wiping the goo onto the desk? Sure, it's a kid, but that was not the time or place for a child. Besides, the distraction, disrespect, and disregard for professional workplace ethics were blatantly flouted. It's not just super unprofessional to take your child to an important meeting. It's incredibly inconsiderate to expect everyone to overlook or tolerate the antics and interruptions of this extraordinary tot. I remember once taking my 7-year-old son to the office after my superior specifically told me I could bring him along since it was a Saturday, which was an off day. At the office, my son kept distracting me and others with his questions. I apologized profusely for his behavior and never took him again. Of course, it's never the kids' fault when they play around when taken to a professional setting. They are kids, and it's their nature to be actively curious about everything. However, their childish interruptions don't lend themselves to workplace efficiency and productivity. Then there is the question of the morale of the other parent employees, who definitely see this as entitlement. I do. It's rather entitled to think that coworkers are fine regularly dealing with a fidgeting child while trying to work and meet deadlines. Or worse, expect your colleagues or employees to look out for your kid while you're immersed in work or busy on a call. Being expected to be the stand-in babysitter is another thing that pisses off many people. As parents, most of us are positively and egocentrically biased in how we evaluate our children, their likability, cuteness, smartness, etc. No doubt, every parent should have unconditional positive regard towards their kids, but imposing that viewpoint onto everyone around just because you're a billionaire is high-level narcissism. People, out of politeness or sycophancy, will fawn over your child, but that's hardly the best strategy to instill socialization skill. He will grow with the entitled expectancy that everyone is there to cater to his whims and fancies. This is only going to produce an immensely spoiled, narcissistic brat. I don't know what Elon's underlying motive or megalomaniac thinking drives him to parade his child to the world, but this isn't going to serve the child well in the long run, according to psychologist Sam Vaknin.
When you instrumentalize child, when you offload all your unfulfilled dreams and fantasies and wishes onto the child, that's abuse. All these situations are not adversarial, they don't involve adversity, but they involve trauma, because they do not recognize the child's needs. They don't allow the child to separate and individuate, become an individual. They don't let the child become. The child is objectified in many ways, dehumanized, used, exploited, and that's a great definition of abuse. And so, in a dysfunctional family setting, which doesn't have to involve adversity, could involve idolizing and pedestalizing, and so on. In a situation where the child's emerging boundaries and nascent self are not allowed to flourish and thrive and to reach maturity and fruition, there, the child's development and personal growth are stunted and thwarted.
Honestly, I feel bad for the kid. He's being toted around by his dad, who is constantly working and even sleeping in various government offices around DC at times, being dressed up constantly, and having to sit quietly in multiple meetings and press conferences. What kind of childhood is that? Why isn't this kid allowed to be a kid? Why isn't he in school or playing with other kids his age? Furthermore, Elon won't let X's mother, Grimes meet her son. He has selfishly decided that X is his golden boy and keeps him away from her. It's parental alienation. I wonder how X will react when he realizes that he has been willfully denied the care and nurturance of his mother. Paid nannies can never replace a mother's love. Moreover, he has 13 other children, but X is always front and center. Elon doesn't seem to give a fig about how his children feel about this kind of favoritism. Recently, Elon Musk's 20-year-old, estranged transgender daughter Vivian Jenna Wilson has scathingly denounced Elon as a pathetic man-child. Like many estranged parents, Musk has taken no accountability for the breakup of the parent-child relationship. He has blamed the woke mind virus for her trans ideology and estrangement. Elon Musk is a brilliant innovator and entrepreneur, but he is not the super dad he is trying to project by parading little X on the world stage. Only time will tell how this eventually plays out. In the meantime, I'll have to learn to manage my triggers whenever I see X enjoy his rich dad's privilege while President Trump compliantly goes along with Elon's definition of best workplace practices.